Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's analysis. I've been thinking about something for a few minutes here, and I'm not sure if I have the answer to it yet, but I think it's worthwhile discussing. There's a lot of conversation around the electability of a woman in general, and a lot of people leaning polls. Some new polling came out showing the support for Joe Biden, and a very close second is Bernie Sanders. We can get to the breakdown of the polling and whether or not we think it's meaningful or substantive at this point. But underlying the support for Joe Biden is simultaneously a fear of Donald Trump winning again and the fear of a woman losing to Donald Trump like Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. Now, there's a couple things at play here. One, I think that's a cop-out in terms of explaining why Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. I mean, we've gone over it quite a bit on my show in the recent in years leading up to immediately after the election, right? There's campaigning that she didn't do in Wisconsin. There's a very poor ground game that she had in Florida, particularly with black turnout, the lack of investment in outreach for communities of color, particularly in Florida. A lot of assumption in terms of the assumption that she would be able to get the Obama coalition simply on GP, general principle. And the fact is that she was never going to be able to get that without putting in the same effort that Barack Obama put in, and even more effort because she came with a lot of baggage that Barack Obama didn't have. And those reasons, amongst many others, I mean, you can calculate in the impact of outside influences, but there always have been outside influences in our elections. I think there's so many reasons why Hillary Clinton lost, and I think the least of which, or at least towards the bottom, is the fact that she was a woman. Then it moves the conversation over to, who are you reaching out to? Because if our formula for success is to constantly pick off people who are on the fence about whether or not they're going to support Republicans or Democrats, and your formula for success is to just try to pick them off every 4 years to pull them away from Republicans, then what type of coalition do you really think you have? And what I mean is this, is like, there are so many people who don't participate in this electoral system who really would if we reached out to them, who really would if we created policies that impacted their lives in a very material way, that they can feel the impact of their policies, if you advocated for them, if you championed for them. I mean, there's more people who do not vote than do vote. And so while Democrats are holding this idea in their mind, and not just the elected officials, not just the DNC, but the resistance in general, the general population of Democrats, if they firmly believe that the solution to beating Trump is to not run a woman, then they are pandering to a group of people who should never be pandered to in the first place. Like, we should not expend our energy and our resources trying to convince people who believe that women can't win and become president. Similarly, like the same people, I mean, we elected, I always thought we would have a woman president before we would have a black president. What Barack Obama did was, besides galvanizing the black vote, and he actually had a ground game that was second to none. I mean, he actually put in the work and overcame all those assumptions that you can't. I mean, I think the weakest explanation is we can't beat Donald Trump if we run a woman. To me, that's the weakest. That is the absolute weakest. And don't get me wrong, there's still a layer of misogyny that transcends race involved in this, that people will feel more comfortable with a black man than would any woman at all. I get that. So I don't want to gloss over that, because that has to become a part of our calculus. But that's not why Hillary Clinton lost. Hillary Clinton lost for many reasons, Number one, we underestimated Donald Trump all the way around the board. So if we learn from the mistakes of 2016, and those mistakes particularly point us to putting down a ground game that is second to none. I mean, investing in the right states, investing in a 50-state strategy, but most certainly pouring money into swing states and not neglecting to go and campaign and stomp the ground in those swing states and expand the electorate. That's one of the things that Barack Obama did. He expanded the electorate and brought in a whole lot more people who never voted before. And there's plenty of opportunity to do that. I think if we do that, we can by all means elect a woman president of the United States of America. But it goes to one of the problems, one of the institutional problems that we have with the Democratic Party. And it is a problem that is fostered by people who make a lot of money, consultants who make a lot of money. All they know how to do, generally speaking, is what they've done previously. That's why they're a consultant. All they really know how to do is what they've done previously. They very rarely would you get a consultant who has a new approach. And so what the Democratic Party does, the inertia, the problem, the reason they drag their feet is because they hire the same consultants who tell them the same thing over and over again. And part of the calculus this time is that, oh, we can't run a woman. If we run a woman, we're going to lose to Donald Trump. And that's absolutely not the way that this should go. Absolutely not. And then, of course, the calculus also is somebody who's nice and centrist and somebody who doesn't scare the donor class, right? Of course, enter Joe Biden and Mayor Pete. Those are the people who they could pull in, who they feel will not scare the donor class and be a safe bet against Donald Trump. The other thing that I want to talk about is Mayor Pete's meeting with Al Sharpton yesterday in Harlem. They went to, I believe it was Sylvia's soul food restaurant. And can I just say this? Man, look, I like Al Sharpton. I know a lot of people don't like Al Sharpton. But, I mean, I have the ability to like people who I shouldn't like. Maybe I shouldn't like Al Sharpton, but I like what he's done. I like what he's galvanized. I like what he's put together for himself. I like people who are successful. So, you know, game recognized game. Like, he's out there hustling, and I like that. Honestly, I do. But he does not represent the black community at all. He represents a very small slither of the black community. There's probably more black people who don't like Al Sharpton than do like Al Sharpton. I'm one of the rare people who actually like him. And so it makes me sick to see, you know, Mayor Pete, who probably has not eaten a piece of fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and collard greens a day in his goddamn life, sitting over this tokenized meal with a bottle of hot sauce on the table, talking to Al Sharpton as though Al Sharpton is the representative of all things Negro. And then, you know, he's getting the fucking seal of approval from the, you know, black gatekeeper when he's not even the black gatekeeper. He's the black gatekeeper for a small slither of aging African Americans who still harken back to the era in black America when there was one black man civil rights leader that we all look to for leadership. And the only person that's left now, because, you know, and I'm not saying this to make fun of Jesse Jackson. He follows me on Twitter. I respect his work, but he's not able to be active now because he's suffering from Parkinson's disease. The only person that's really out there who harkens back to that era is Al Sharpton. Well, that's a very small slither of the black community who even looks for that anymore. And so this whole meeting with Mayor Pete was extremely annoying for many reasons, and not because it is Al Sharpton, but because of how tokenized it was. We don't give a shit about what this man is eating. Don't go to the you want to go down to Harlem, right? And don't go to Sylvia's. Go down to, and actually don't go to Harlem anymore because Harlem is being gentrified. Like, go to certain parts of the Bronx. Go to a certain part. Go to the block for real. You know what I mean? If you were like, I don't know the neighborhoods in New York well enough, but if you were in Boston, like, go down to Roxbury, my nigga. Don't go down to, excuse my language, don't go down to, you know, actually go to Brockton. Go to Brockton in Boston area. You know, go to the areas Like, if you want to connect with, go to the barbershops. You know, don't go and meet with, hell, Al Sharpton. And see, this is one thing that Barack Obama did that irritated a lot of people, but I understood why he did it. When Barack Obama ran, he didn't go to the black gatekeepers first. He went to the people first. He went straight to black people first. And then the black gatekeepers came along later on, which shows you they're not really the gatekeepers. Because the gatekeepers were trying to tell everybody, including John Lewis, was trying to tell everybody to go over to Hillary Clinton. And you know what they did? You know what Barack Obama did? He said, fine, I'll just go to the people myself. And he did. He organized in the black communities. He hit the ground out, and he could have done a lot more, but he did enough to win. All that to say is that these people, you know, people like Mayor Pete, who goes to Al Sharpton to get his blessing, that I hope that backfires spectacularly. It has to backfire. I know it's backfiring with people who are more relevant today, people who are younger generation, millennials are all looking at this like, man, get the fuck out of here with this. Sitting there with some fried chicken and hot sauce with Al Sharpton, like, you know, with collard greens. Al Sharpton is selling off the black community for the colored community for collard greens. Get the hell out of here. But it's just that it's that tokenization of black people that Al Sharpton does. I mean, this is the reason I don't like him. Like, I like him because his hustle, like, he's out, I mean, he's doing a damn thing. But I don't like him because it's like it makes the black community a commodity that could be sold and traded by one broker. And Al Sharpton is not that broker, because there is no broker in the black community anymore. There is no single black leader who we can look to and say, oh, we're all going to follow what this guy says. No, we are extremely democratized. Our leadership is very decentralized. And you got to convince a whole lot of people. More than anything else, you got to go to the people themselves and not perceived gatekeepers. All right, that's all I got for today. See you tomorrow. Thanks for your support, patrons.